Recording has begun.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today is day number 105, 105 days since I've seen my brother or know anything about him, despite despite the fact that I'm doing everything in my power, as much as I can and limited as I am, in order to look to find out any update on him. So anyway, today is the 21st of November 2023, and the time is coming to be 7 o'clock. Today was the day that I was going to go get lynched in court today. They had all set up all the pieces. I was going to go to court today. Judge Wilcox was going to hang me dry because her services have been commissioned out by Bradford Council, and it was going to be a kangaroo court today, and I was going to go. Despite what I've said, they would have listened. They said, "All right, Mr. Hussain, talk, Mr. Hussain, talk." In one ear and out the other. We don't care what you're saying. Ultimately, no, I'm deciding this because basically I've been paid off to do this, make these decisions. That's what District Judge Wilcox would have done, and that's exactly what District Judge Wilcox did on the first week of her being a District Judge at Bradford County Court. She started on the 28th of November. We had a first hearing before her on the 30th of November, hence why I've made continuing allegations that the reason that she's become a district judge is because of the fact that they needed a quid pro quo relationship in place so you can railroad this case through, just as the previous Judge Saville in 2015 was brought on board specifically for my court case. This is how the real world works. The judges are made judges on a quid pro quo basis so that they can, on a select number of cases, normally they probably do everything right, but on a select number of cases, they're going to do a fraud or a deception to win favor with those who have commissioned their services. So that's what was going to happen with District Judge Wilcox, and that's what happened with District Judge Wilcox on the 30th of November last year. She had been privately commissioned to railroad something through, and the case fell apart. And during those hearings, it got reconstituted into a directional hearing where I got another penal notice, and that's quite indicative, isn't it? Every time I'm going to court as a litigant in person, I'm slapped with the penal notice. Why am I being slapped with the penal notice if there's no fraud and deception taking place, if there's no contempt taking place, if they hold me in clear contempt? So anyway, now subsequently, when it's coming to light that this is all a fraud. This whole county, this court case by the claimant Manningham Housing in the in the county court is all a fraud. It's just, when you're going through something, you don't realize, well, wait a minute, that looks a bit dodgy. This doesn't make sense, but okay, we'll allow it, and you give the benefit of that out. But when hindsight, when you look back and you think, oh my God, this was all a fraud. This was all a front. So in 2022, I attended on there were four court hearings. Let's just go through all of them. The first one was on the 28th of March, 2022, when on the 17th of March, I was just told there's a court hearing on the 28th you need to attend. Just to be given that like 6 working days notice, effectively. Less than 10 days were notice that there's a hearing coming up, where the Housing Association claimant, Manningham Housing, had simply put in a claim in or not even told me about it. I only got a wind of it when they told me a hearing's been arranged. So obviously that's the time when I needed to know, because there's a hearing coming up. Before, when they put the application in, I believe on the start of March, they didn't even bother telling me. Right? And that's a dirty tactic, isn't it? You're putting a claim into the courts and you're not even giving me a copy of it. You're waiting until the courts have already made the decision, and then you're telling me that there's a court date. That's a fraud. But irrespective, I went to this hearing before Deputy District Judge Maudsley, and at the time, I basically won that case. I said, look, these guys don't know what they're talking about. They're trying to convince me, and so was the judge, that as soon as the tenant dies, the tenancy ends, and it's not right. The tenancy lawfully only ends when a notice to quit has been served both on the tenant's representative and the public guardian or the official solicitor. None of that had happened, so that case eventually did not get thrown out. Noted, the judge disregarded my dismissal application and simply listed it, refused to strike it out, and had it proceeded to have it listed. That's a fraud, because obviously subsequently the housing association realized what they've done is wrong, and the jig is up, the cat's at the bag. I know what's going on, so eventually they withdrew the case and offered to hurry houses. Then subsequently, from 25th of I think May, they refused to talk to me again. All right, I said, look, you're looking to rehouses. Your case of unlawful trespass has now fallen apart. They just simply didn't care. Then obviously the local authority once again instigated them to rejuvenate this case. And so I became aware of it on the 28th of June that there's a hearing 5th of July. Once again, very short notice, 5th of July before District Judge Higginbottom. And I once again made my arguments that he should recuse himself. There's a fraud going on place. He had an opportunity to strike out the case. He didn't do so. That's a fraud because obviously this case lacks complete validity. And I tell you what else is a fraud is that subsequently he did not give me any dates or put in as a defense argument. There was no dates discussed. There were no dates of a final hearing discussed. There was no courage of who should draft the order. Hence why, after the hearing, nobody drafted the order. It's only until the 29th of July, when I had made serious allegations to the Judge Higginbottom, that subsequently he then stated that the solicitors had the curry to create the order, which is all a lie and a falsehood, because he didn't do so. This is all a fraud. I attended that hearing. I know exactly what was carried on in that hearing. So it's all just lies and deceptions. All right, okay. All right. So it was all just lies and deceptions that were being peddled out in the courts that during then. So it's quite indicative that I did not get the solicitors had to write back with the order, and it's a simple order. It's not a complicated order, which was not submitted to the courts until the 16th of August. Hearing that took place on the 5th of August did not take they did not create the order. The claimant solicitor or barrister did not create the order until the 16th of August. What a complete farce. And I did not then get the order until the 9th, or it was not sent out to me until the 9th of September, which I received on the 12th of September, where District Judge Higginbottom previously has stated that he's recusing himself from the case, and then subsequently stated on the 13th of September to list the case. All fraud. Why did the hearing of the 5th of July I did not receive the order until the 13th of September? Look how much that delay. And then all of a sudden they sneaked in another court case by District Judge Foster regarding a gas safety inspection, which was all a lie. It was an attended hearing. Why was it an attended hearing? I made an adjournment application which was denied. So District Judge Foster was committing a fraud there by allowing this hearing to take place, because nothing I could have said would have made any difference. So me asking for an adjournment, it was irrelevant, wasn't it? Because it was all going to be railroaded through so that was a fraud committed on the 30th of September. And then subsequently this hearing on the 30th of November before District Judge Wilcox was a fraud, and the order did not get issued out, even though I had put an appeal on the 21st of December. The order actually of the 30th of November did not get sent out until the 30th of December. That's when the penal notice would have been given out to DWF solicitors, who then informed me on the 9th of January that, look, we've received this order now. Recently, they only received the penal notice on the 9th of January, because even though it had been stated 14th of December, it was actually not sent out to the DWF until the 30th of December, and then obviously Kate Josh didn't receive it or deal with it until the 9th of January. So this was quite clearly a fraud. So on two occasions, all right, on the 5th of July, I didn't get the order until the 13th of September, and then on the 30th of November, I did not get the order until the 9th of January. All right, this is completely ridiculous. This is quite clearly a fraud. All right, and then they did not stop the proceedings. They did not, even though I had stated straight away, stay the proceedings until the appeal has been successfully dealt with. They didn't choose to stay the proceedings. They allowed it to railroad it through so my brother could have a mental capacity assessment carried out, and then the following day they stayed the proceeding. All fraudulent. Then with regards to the transcriptions, I needed the transcriptions in order of the hearing of the 30th in order for me to make a skeleton argument. They didn't give me the transcriptions, and then in April time they managed to get the transcription themselves and just basically whitewashed my appeal application in April, and then subsequently relisted. This is when Justice Judge Wilcox came on board, relisted a hearing that nobody attended, that nobody was made aware of, an attended hearing that neither I or the claimant had attended, but it was not to the claimant's disadvantage. The claimant were not even involved in this at this stage. Then the next hearing got listed for the 18th of July as another attended hearing, which I then changed to a remote hearing, and only because I changed it to a remote hearing did the claimant find out that it was going to be a remote hearing. And the day before, on the 17th of July, the claimant realized that this case is still live, and had reignited the case and then change of solicitors from Kate Joss to Jonathan Smith, and so that was all a fraud. And then from July 17th of July July 18th, it was listed, so there should be a skeleton album was forced through, which would not, which was the Judge Hickinbottom would try to force through, and also a capacity assessment should be carried out now. Alright, so District Judge Mitchell was quite clearly fraudulent in this case. I put in a case dismissal application, was not dealt with all through the month of July. Only at the end of July did I realize that they're stating that, oh no, it needs to come in, you know, you need to physically hand it in now. So on the 1st of August, I physically handed it in, and then subsequently putting in my appeal application on the 7th of August, only for my brother to be kidnapped. It's all been fraudulent. It's all until today. It's all fraud taking place, and I'm just sick to death of it because there's nothing I can do about it because all the judges are involved. Judge Grosnell, Circuit Judge Grosnell as the appeal judge, District Judge Mitchell and District Judge Wilcox are being fronted to do this, and no doubt this is one of the reasons that they've stopped these proceedings going forward today. I'm just sick to death of the fraud. It's just endemic and systemic fraud, and District Judge Grosnell is the worst of them all because he's refusing to, you know, have a hearing and denying to stay these proceedings. It's all malevolent and fraudulent, and you know, he sits back and looks at the cases. He wants the hearing to go ahead, for me to be lynched. And yet at the same time, it's been 105 days that my brother's been taken away from me like this. I'm just simply sickened by this absolute atrocity of justice. It's an affront to justice, and it's an affront to decency. It's just a fraud and a deception, and it's sickening. And there's nothing I can do about it because the police are involved, the council is involved, the courts and tribunals are involved, all the judges are involved. Everybody's just colluding and conspiring in order to target and victimize poor little me. Well, poor little me is still strong, and I'm still here, and I'm not suicidal, and I'll never kill myself. And if any harm comes to me is as a result of direct or indirect actions taken by the local authority who can't do the jobs properly. So I think I should just leave it there. Allah Hafiz.